You know, there's such affection for these characters, and it all begins with you guys. And so I want to take a moment to illustrate how special you guys are, and I was hoping you could go back in time. I'm going to start with you, Robert. Look to your left, and I want you to, we're going to go down the row, and I want you to try to recall your first impression of the actors to your left. So you're going to start
First impression.
First impression,
Sarah.
If you can recall. Start with that. You get to look at Sarah. You're first.
Sarah.
First impression.
This is the easiest job in the world. I just remember thinking this is one of the greatest actors I've ever worked with, Sarah, and to watch her in these scenes, she has this great ability to not look you in the eye until you really need to be looked in the eye, and then there's a lot of TV actors.
That's just you, actually.
I'm just like, yeah. And then to realize, like this time around, to realize that I'm going to be acting with her in some really juicy scenes are pretty amazing. Dominic just loved to pick on me at the beginning. I used to come home and I'd be all bruised up, and I'd say, well, that's just par for the course. Teabag got thrown on the hood of a car, and but we got through. And one of my favorite moments with Wentworth was towards the end of it wasn't the first impression, although I have to say the first impression was he took really good care of me, and he included me in the company, because I wasn't in the pilot, I was in the next episode. And towards the end of the summer in the first season, we were having, back in the days when most of us smoked, we stood against the wall, we were having a cigarette, and I turned to Wentworth and I said, this is pretty good, isn't it? Life is pretty good. It finally got cool at the end of the day. We were leaning up against the wall in the evening. And those are great, great memories that will never go away.
Sarah, you go now.
Impressions of these guys.
First impression.
You know, I don't, it was a long time ago. I mean, we were babies. I remember I came to set to watch them film before I started, and it was Chicago, and it was Joliet. It was snowing like crazy and super cold, and Wentworth and I went for dinner, try and get to know each other a bit, and we were walking back through Joliet, and there was an empty building that had been used as a campaign headquarters, and it was littered with these signs for some candidate named Barack Obama who was running for the Senate in Chicago. We turned to each other and we're like, well, with a name like that guy will never get anywhere. Like, it was just one of those like super idiotic conversations that 4 years later made us both into idiots. I think Dom might have growled at me, but you were really nice later. Like, it was like a first impression, which was like, hey, I'm Sarah. And Robert and I didn't work together in the first season, and so most of my first impressions with you were watching your work as the episodes came out, and I was just floored. I was just floored by what you did. I thought it was really brave.
Dominic, how about you?
First impressions of Rob were unique, really odd. I think he was one of the first actors that I kind of really worked with that was really into the method, you know. I was impressed by his commitment to his craft. Sarah was, man, this woman's tough as shit. So,
Is that what you grilled at me?
yeah, let you know who's straight. And Wentworth, very private, very just a gentleman, someone that I had never. I mean, I grew up in a very kind of rough area in Australia. My friends were all going law, and he was a guy that was the complete opposite of all of those, and he was just very polite, very gentle, very sincere, and the most beautiful looking man I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
And I was like, hang on, I thought I was the stud on this show. That's just not going to happen. So.
Go Wentworth.
I think my first impression of Robert was one of awe and appreciation. From the very first scene we had together, I was impressed with this man's boldness and his choices. And I thought, this is good news, because a show like Prison Break lives and dies by the quality of its villains. And the man had quality in spades. Sarah, I think our first scene together was probably in the infirmary. I don't really recall. It was a long time ago. But I remember appreciating very much the quality of her work, and also the fact that for a moment I wasn't working with dudes. It's such a testosterone-fueled show, so to have those scenes be what they were, it was a change of pace and a respite and a refuge sometimes. And Dominic I met at, I think it was a chemistry test at Fox, and I thought, well, we both have shaved heads, so we could sell that brother thing. I knew we were in.